Okay, welcome to our Divine Origin Forum. Tonight's topic is I Am. Please remain muted as we start with an opening prayer. We call the benevolent beings of light, archangels, and ascended masters to guide and inspire us during this forum. Our forum's vision is to bring the understanding, tools, discipline, and support for those seeking to enter the straight and narrow path, the road less traveled, that will lead us along effectively and steadily through the ascension process. Integration of the human experience with our divine origin is moving us full circle to achieve our divine potential. So be it. We thank you for answering the call from on high to attend the forum. Let us join our hearts and minds in preparation to receive the blessings offered. We ask you to please release your day from your mind and center yourself. Breathe in deeply and release. Breathe in deeply and release. Now take one last deep breath in and release. Relax the tension in your body and your mind. Now bring your full attention to the forum. Be fully present in order to receive and fully retain the discourse gifts. John, this is not recorded, please. And Barbara, please begin your discourse.
Thank you. Tonight's topic is I Am. The video gave a lot of information. It was like a 6 months course in one video. I highly recommend you go through it again and take some notes about a lot that was said. And what I did is prepare the notes to discuss and really just reiterate what I got out of this video. The saying that who drinks from my mouth, it's not, people look at that, and if you look at it from a 3D point of view, it's like, what the? It was about absorbing wisdom and transforming from that wisdom, because whatever came out of a Christ's mouth would be a teaching that was to be followed if you want to find your way back to who you really are. Healing the blind. Now, everybody was thinking, wow, people who couldn't see was restored. Their vision was restored. And I don't question that didn't happen. I believe it did. But it was more about the vision of your spiritual healing. It's not so much a physical activity that was being spoken about. The awareness so that you could see is to be able to have the vision of a healing spirit. Walking on water. Boy, I thought that was really cool. Did you ever try it? It symbolizes mastery over the material world. In other words, nothing here just is. It responds to what you say. Your voice is the voice of God because you're being animated by the source itself. However, until we get to a point where we believe it, until we get to a point where we have cleansed the shadow enough where we're clear in our ability to believe that we can do this, once we believe it, We can do it. We can do it. We can move mountains. All right. So then the lessons. Jesus asked God to take the cup from him of what he had to do. The cup represents the material world, the trap that all of us are sitting in, where we think what we're looking at out there is the gospel of what is really happening. But if you change your mind about something and you believe that whatever is going on can be brought to righteousness, if it's something that is very scary, it will shift on our trips around the world. We practiced this and we saw it in action. Where if you're projecting light into the darkness, into a fight, into an argument, it dissipates it, it dissolves it, because it can't be acting out in that presence of the light and love. When Jesus said, "Not my will, but your will be done," he wasn't surrendering to the world. What he was doing is aligning himself with the truth, with the source of life, knowing that whatever was to be was for the highest good of him and the situation and his purpose for being here. You see, it's a different way of thinking. You don't just accept what you're looking at. You look at it until it makes sense to you. And the more that you clear yourself of all the past patterns and fears and false beliefs, you start to see things so vivid and clear. And the understanding just comes to you. It's a clear sentience and understanding and knowledge within you. And it is, and you've activated that technology. The followers were sleeping when Jesus was going through that horrible moment in the garden and he was, facing what was coming for him. But it was really showing that everybody falls into despair and they can't really be awake spiritually. They fall for what the energy is out there instead of correcting it themselves. When Jesus asked his disciples, okay, that's what I was just reading. But even if you tell truths to people, even if I worked with you for years, teaching you everything that I learned over all these years, um, if you're not ready, if you're not at a point where you can absorb what is being said, it's going in one ear and out the other without registering in between. That's why we always say, if you give advice and help people to understand things that you already know, and they don't take it or they don't run with it, they don't even try it, don't be despaired. You did your part. You shared it, and it's up to them to decide. Now, you did plant a seed, but the soil wasn't ready, you see? And when it is ready, that seed's still there. It may not really be the one that grows, but somebody else will say something and the seed will be stimulated because it will be coming from another voice, another source at a time when the person is actually ready. You see? And so you did your job, maybe like with me, no matter where you get it from, whether I've said it 100 times or once, if you get it from anywhere else, God bless you. And I'm so happy for you. It isn't about the person teaching. It's about you and when you're ready, because your world will shift in a way that is so amazing that every day you'll walk around grinning like a chessy cat because you're going to see the miracle of who you really are. So, Judas, I've always said, I knew he was not a bad person. He was really the one that was willing to help liberate Jesus out of the physical so he could show that you don't die. The resurrection was all about that, that he still was, even though he wasn't in a body anymore. The Last Supper and the Eucharist, the symbology of the wine and the bread. It was about awakening to the divine knowledge that Jesus revealed. It was not about, oh, yeah, it was about recognizing the divine spark that's within each person. The Gospel of Philip actually reveals the Last Supper was about receiving the esoteric knowledge and opening the path to awakening. So you see, we watched this played out how many times when we saw the Last Supper and taking the bread and the wine. There was a woman who married my brother-in-law, and she was sitting at the table at Easter with us. Whole family was there. And she was saying, you know how disgusting it was when I heard that you drink the blood, and I looked at her and I said, so you're showing your ignorance right now. I said it was all symbology. And she goes, no, it wasn't. It was literal. I said, well, that's why you're feeling disgusted, because you don't understand. And everybody else told her to zip it because we were trying to have Easter. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, the crucifixion and resurrection was actually the demonstration of the ultimate truth that the material world can't harm your soul. Your soul lives on. It gathers all the information from life. The uh, the crucifixion is what we do on a regular basis. We crucify ourselves symbolically by letting go of the things that are trapping us in this 3D mindset. And the release is the resurrection. We become a higher frequency being because now we understand after we go through the crucifixion and let go of the fear so that we can become more open-minded, be able to understand. You see, it's just so scientific, believe it or not. You know, they say science and religion should never be together. Well, it is all science because it's all energy. It really is. It's all energy. Um, so I talked about the resurrection. So if the resurrection is not experienced in your lifetimes, then it nothing goes away. You take everything with you when you pass because the Akashic record has recorded every single thing. Now, the stuff that we overcame and we grew in our knowledge, that is brought into the soul. In other words, it's returned to God through the experience that we have. And then the Akashic record keeps track of the things we haven't finished as well as the things we finished. Excuse me. It's cold down here. And so uh, yeah, so that's why if you don't do your work while you're in the body, you take it with you, reincarnate, and you do it again until you get it, until you've healed it, until you've brought yourself beyond the limitation and became Christed. You see? You can do it for as many lifetimes as you want. And you have. Believe me, we all have. All right. So, when Jesus used the terminology, take up your cross and follow me, it was a clear message to do your inner work. When you follow him, right? He overcame the world. That's what he wanted you to do. He can teach you from now until, eternity. But until you experience yourself in the state of mind and frequency that you're living in, you don't really get it. I never got it until I experienced it. So people that have told me their lives were difficult and harsh and they had terrible experiences, I go, wow, what an education you gave yourself. What opportunities for you to overcome that so you never have to bring it with you again. And it's true. It's true. So he told us right then and there. It didn't sound like he said that, but he really did. And it was very clear. And to deny yourself was not rejecting that you are a being. When you deny yourself, it's the little me, the ego. I want to be president. I want to be rich. I want to be important. Yeah, hello. That's all ego. That's all ego. Oh, I did this. I need to tell everybody so that they can pet me on the head. Like, I'm so wonderful. That's ego. That's the lower part of ourself. And we all have both. But when we let go of all of this, this is the false you. It's not the real you. You are a divine being. What you act out is telling you where you're standing. What are you still trying to do here? Do you want to be in service or do you want to be self-serving? Because self-serving are the people that are sitting around doing things because it's all about me. I want to be important. I got to watch my time. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So, mm, so your willingness to confront what you haven't been able to before, because you say, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be sad today. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be hurt. If you keep doing that, every time a layer comes up, presenting itself to your outer layers, saying, hello, look at me. I want to go out. I want to be gone. You're no fun anymore. You don't do this anymore. If you don't do it, it just recycles back down and it'll come back up again. So when an opportunity comes up where you're thinking about things that are very disturbing, that troubled you in the past, please take the initiative to take care of it. When something happens during the day that really triggers you, but because you're maybe at work or you're with other people and you don't want to go there or speak about it or be part of it, please, before you go to bed, take care of that. Don't take it into tomorrow. Don't take it into tomorrow because the emotion of it dissipates as time goes on because it starts sinking back down again into a deeper level. So these are all wisdom teachings that I'm sharing with you. Okay. Yeah. We have to shift away from limitation, believing that we're limited in any way. And we have to become aware, uh, to be rooted in clarity and truth. That's all you want to live is in clarity and truth, the true understanding of what's happening in your life. Okay, the cross is a symbol of death, but also an intersection as it represents, no, it presents the meeting point between the spiritual and the material, the cross. But it crosses at the heart of your body if you're looking at it from that point of view. And there is a higher and lower aspect of yourself. It's always there. You make the choice of expressing what you decide is what you want. That's why when people are angry, they'll choose the dark side, like it's just a knee-jerk reaction. Get even. Say what you need to say to that person instead of staying in your center, 0 point, and breathing and just waiting upon the Lord, I call it. And what it is where if you tell yourself, I'm not going there, I'm not going to open my mouth, I'm not going to yell, I'm not going to retaliate, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to breathe. And then the words will come out, the perfect words that could cut like a knife, but it doesn't hurt them because it's said in a place where there's love behind it, even if it's tough love, having to say something, but it will be received differently than a knee-jerk reaction where you just spit it all out. It's it's true. Okay. Where knowledge becomes accessible and transcendence begins is when you start working on yourself and not fooling around or making believe you're okay when you're not. The cross also symbolizes balance between the inner and outer world of our world. Each one of us are living a little bit different. The masculine and the feminine part of ourselves. We use the masculine when you're a female to be more powerful and assertive, and also your feminine is active, more active, where you're very compassionate and loving and understanding and nurturing. And a man, uh, he could have a beautiful feminine side, very nurturing and very understanding, and yet has the masculine side more dominant, where he can be more aggressive when he has to and do the things that would be called on in your masculine role. Active and receptive, left and right. All of these things are going on at the center of that cross, which is at the heart center. The heart, mm, it creates an equilibrium within you. Jesus pointing to the heart all the time reflects the idea that the heart is where fragmentation dissolves into unity, the place of love. When you stay in your center, you are aligned with your heart, you see. Salvation is remembering who we really are. Jesus shows us in our of our own power. He wasn't here to show you how powerful he was. He could walk on water, he could heal the sick. He was showing you what you can do to yourself and others. He was showing you your power. And we were looking at him and going, whoa, he's the only one that could do that. The true temple is within you. Your body is a living temple, beautiful and holy place that the Holy Spirit is housed in. It is the living center of your being, is when you are pulled, but not when you're pulled by emotions. Um, because if you allow your emotions and desires to overpower you, you come completely out of center. You're all, they call it Rolfing. You're all over the place. And you do things you would never do when you stayed in your center. The body holds higher and lower energies, with the mind being the bridge between the two. You were given a mind, a brain, an active organ, which can give you a moment if you breathe to allow the thoughts to run down into the heart chakra and be assimilated with love, so that when you do speak out loud, it's not going to be biting. It's not going to be something that you can't take back and you're sorry for the rest of your life. I used to be the kind of person that in 3.5 seconds, if somebody said something to me, I was right on it and I could cut them into a million pieces. And believe me, I was very, very sorry that I ever hurt anybody like that because words have power behind them and energy, and it hurts other people, even physically. If you could see the light that comes out of you when you're angry, it's a red beam and it's very scary when you see it. We don't need to leave the world, but rather to reorientate ourselves in the world, knowing who we are and the power that we have, and not buy into all the systems that are out there. Yes, we do have to obey the law. However, we don't have to take medicine that we don't want to. We don't have to do a lot of things that we don't have to, that it isn't the law. In a dictatorship or communism or uh, other regimes, you have to do what you're told. And that's why we're not there in this lifetime. That's why we're born here, because this was the place for the light workers. It was so that we could have the freedom that was offered to us. Although there's a lot of corruption that's being cleaned up, it's because wherever there's light, there's darkness. That's why the Middle East has been at war forever, ever since Jesus had walked on the earth. You see what I mean? It's they're drawn to that light, but they don't like it. They want to kill it and remove it. And that's what they did in our country. And it's heartbreaking. But we're waking up. Expansion happens when aligning with the higher perception, keeping the mind open to allowing consciousness to expand beyond limitation and to realize your human potential and identification with God. The role Jesus was placed in was to bring attention to the divine within you and restore awareness of it. Jesus came to show how powerful we are, and the true temple was not built by human hands. It was built by God, the body. So when he said, I am the way, the I is the awakened self. No one comes to the Father but by me was actually meaning becomes a statement of inner, it's so hard to see without the bright light, the real inner me, the real me, the realization of who I really am. The higher knowledge comes from inner self, not from institutions, mediators, or rituals. Everybody asks me, well, how do I get there? It's going to happen naturally as you go inside and start getting used to communicating with that divine portion of yourself, making decisions to clear out all of the things that you've been hanging on to. So there's so much you can do. I'm going to continue this uh, on the other side because I don't want to be off track and it's 8 o'clock. Okay, so those watching on YouTube, we invite you to join us. But if not, you can listen to all this on Our Divine Origin on the YouTube. It's a purple box with a white dove in it as our symbol, and you'll see the Christ opener on all of our videos. Okay, so I turn the mic over to Judy, and we'll move into segment 2. First, we're going to do the song.
Thank you, Barbara. Lots to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, John, this is not recorded.
So that beautiful song, it it was deep within my soul. I felt it. The understanding why Jesus is so important into this world because he was everywhere, everywhere. And everyone on every continent knew of him. They called him different names, but they knew of him. I had enough experiences personally meeting people, indigenous people, and people from all over in different countries that said he was there. And I can say that's why he is so important to the culture and to everything. Leaving out religion, just to the world itself, what he came to do. He came to bring the truth, to wake us up out of the Maya that we got caught in and could not see beyond it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Barbara, can we please have your closing statement?
Mhm. I'm not going to make it long because we ran a little over tonight, but this is what I'm going to read something to you, the closing statement um, from the video. But what I want to say to you is this: nobody knows yourself like you do. When you finally come to peace with yourself and stop trying to convince yourself that you're not something that you really are, or you really are something that you don't want to admit. When you get really real with yourself and know what you do and how you do it, you come to a place where you actually you start finding so much humor in the whole situation because you know everything that you do, you know what you're trying to really say, or you're trying to hide, or you're trying. We are the funniest creations on the planet. We really are. But when we get to a place where we just are, we just be. We don't have to be anyone or accomplish anything, or uh, we're just so content with ourselves, where we stand, and the reflection of the people that come to us, it becomes so beautiful, and it gives us such a sense of ourself more than what we think we are or what we think we do. We don't see ourselves like other people do. We really don't. And everyone, we look at each other and we know who we're dealing with. We can feel it. I watched a video about what dogs are, how they communicate and how they connect to you on an energetic level. And it was confirming what I've experienced with dogs before, horses and other domesticated animals, where they send you pictures. They connect with you in a way that they already know where you're at energetically. Well, we can do the same thing. And as you come into your technology, your inner technology switches on again, you will just be standing with someone and everything is revealed about them if they never said a word to you, because you will watch their energy field. It is so beautiful and so remarkable to experience. You are so much more than you can imagine right now. But I ask you to imagine it. Imagine if, what would you like to do? Would you like to be able to read energy? Would you like to be able to walk on water? No, I'm kidding. Would you would you like to be a different person than you've been, in a different way, with all the wounds of our childhood and our adult life? Just leave them all behind and just reinvent yourself to the person you really want to be. And that is who you really are. I'm going to read this to you. Harmony restores balance. The kingdom of God is not postponed to an afterlife. It is either built here in this lifetime or any lifetime, or destroyed in the here and in the now. Heaven and hell is not a destination. They are states of awareness. I call it states of a consciousness. The Christ teaching is simple. Seek within yourself for the kingdom of God, and everything else will follow. Not through belief, not through authority, but through awakening. Awaken, my friends. Awaken to your divinity. And once you do, you believe it with all your heart, even before you see it happen. Okay? And if you will do that, everything, all of your technology inside will be on. The switch will be switched, and you will now be aware of exactly what you need to do inside yourself to make room for this great God or goddess to express in you. And then those are my final words for August. And I will see you next Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what we have on the roster to start that month. So with all my love, I say good night, except for the prayer that we're going to do. And anybody that would like to stay on and do that prayer, I would really appreciate it. I wanted to say to you, we do need a November. I believe it's November. I put onto the message to the team. We do need somebody to take that spot that hasn't been working in a while. Okay, Shelley. Very nice. Thank you. Just send me a text so that I remember to put you on the list. Thank you so much, dear. All right. So let's do the prayer, and Judy will take it from here.
Thank you, Barbara. Beautiful evening, as usual. Okay. This continues to be recorded. I will read the closing prayer. Please remain muted. We are deeply grateful for this forum. We thank those in attendance for your attention, for your wonderful questions, comments, and stories that touched our hearts and opened our minds to new possibilities. Our collective energy has filled this forum with light and love for each other. We are so grateful that each of us brings guides and angelic beings to the forum, raising the frequency ever higher. We are grateful for the assistance, inspiration, and guidance from the benevolent beings overseeing the forum. Know we are deeply loved and richly blessed. So be it. We invite all of you to remain for a 10-minute prayer before saying goodnight to each other. We will be closing the evening with a planetary prayer as our collective call for the light to bless every kingdom upon the earth, to create a new heaven and a new earth. The words are on the screen to help you recite this beautiful prayer.
So let's sit nice and tall in our seats, our feet on the ground. Straighten up your spine. Let that light be able to move nicely through your body. Feel your feet on the floor. Call up that light into your feet, up your legs, the trunk of your body, your arms, hands, up your neck and in your head as it loops back down into the earth, through your body, out the soles of your feet in a continuous flow. Let's begin setting everything into motion. I call for the divine Christ radiance to surround me, hermetically sealing around me. Nothing but love can penetrate this seal of divine light. I call for the divine light to enter my crown directly from source, moving through every atom, molecule, cell, and energy within my body and fields. The flow of divine light moves through my body into the earth, out through the soles of my feet, continuing in a steady flow and building in potency. I ask my higher self to connect my heart with the other prayer warriors all over the world to create a unified effort as one mind, one heart, one intent. I call to the benevolent beings of light for their assistance. I ask my higher self to add power to the words of this planetary visualization. Now let us rest in the divine light, concentrating on our breath and on the light flowing. Let it clear your mind, breathing in the divine light and hold it. Now breathe out the divine light. Breathing in the divine light, hold it. Now breathe out the divine light. One last time. Breathing in the divine light, hold it. Now breathe out all the divine light. Extending your arms, turn the palms of your hands to face each other, about a foot apart. Visualize the earth and her atmosphere between your hands. The light will begin to flow into your hands and into the earth and her atmosphere. You'll feel it flowing. Let us call in the divine light. I am calling the violet ray as violet fire to flow directly from source into the earth's atmosphere, penetrating into the earth's surface all the way through to the core in a steady flow. I am calling the divine Christ radiance to move through my body, out through my hands and heart. The divine light is pouring into the earth's atmosphere, penetrating the surface and continuing to the center of the planet in a steady flow, blessing the earth in divine light. Now let us direct the divine light with authority. I am directing the divine light into the planetary grid lines, the electronic grid and meridian lines surrounding the earth, the ley lines crisscrossing the earth, repairing and charging these lines as the divine light moves in a continuous flow. I am directing the divine light to penetrate the kingdoms represented on earth and all life within each kingdom, the elemental, plant and food chain, the animal kingdom, human kingdom, angelic kingdom, and all kingdoms known and unknown. I am directing the divine light to penetrate the dimensions of the earth, penetrating these dimensions and all life within each dimension. I am directing the divine light to penetrate the waters of the earth, on the surface, under the surface, in the atmosphere, and all life within these waters, purifying the water as God intended in the beginning. I am directing the divine light to penetrate all land masses, the continents and islands of land upon the earth's surface, and all life living upon the surface and under the surface. I am directing the divine light to penetrate the cities, towns, and communities upon the land, and all life living within inhabited locations on the earth. I am directing divine light to penetrate all of humanity on earth, every man, woman, and child incarnated on earth, lifting them in the light, awakening and ascending ever higher as divine source intended from the beginning. I am directing the divine light to penetrate all species of animals on the land, flying in the sky, all organisms and elementals on the surface and beneath the surface of the earth. I am visualizing the benevolent beings of light upon the earth, assisting all humanity, showing us the way, guiding us, assisting those awakened, and embracing those just awakening, leading humanity to a higher reality and to bring the concepts of a higher order of divine love for yourself and others. Now breathing deeply, taking in the entire picture of all that you have visualized, marveling as you help create a new heaven and a new earth, filled with divine light, as divine source intended from the beginning. Let us express our gratitude. I am thanking the benevolent beings of light for their assistance and guidance. I thank my higher self for giving power to my words, manifesting my divine vision. I thank the divine light for its steady flow of purity to all creation. I thank Mother Earth for providing all of our needs from her abundance and beauty. I thank the angels in every color of the rainbow for their daily assistance and blessings. And I thank our divine source for all of creation. Concentrating on your hands as that light is pouring into the earth. And now place your hands upon your heart and feel the divine flow of light, giving thanks for being of service to our divine source. Now rest your arms, press your feet to the floor, become aware of your surroundings. And when you are feeling ready, open your eyes and return fully present. This visualization and directives of light is to co-create and manifest the transformation of our planet, giving back to her for all she offers to us. This is God's plan for this planet and all life upon her. So be it, and so it is. Amen and amen. You can have a copy of this visualization and a prayer to cleanse the earth. Visit our website, ourdivineorigin.com. Thank you.